Today, we're going to talk about something that I think pretty much everyone deals with, getting stuck in a worry cycle. You know what I mean? We're going to unlock how these loops work, but way more importantly, we're going to look at some really practical ways to step out of them so you can get back to some calmer, clearer thinking. I mean, does this feel familiar? You're just trying to relax, maybe go to sleep, but your brain just decides nope and starts playing the same anxious thought over and over again. It is so frustrating, and it's exactly what we're going to tackle right now. For some of you, maybe it sounds a little something like this. It's late, everything's quiet, and all of a sudden this tiny little thought about a noise, like tinnitus, feels like a giant, insurmountable wall between you and a good night's rest. Or hey, maybe it's this one. A thought about a meeting or an appointment that just spirals into this huge fear of failure, of letting everybody down. Both of these thoughts, they come from a place of pressure, right? And either one can kickstart that whole cycle of anxiety. So let's dive in and see exactly how that happens. Okay, let's start with that nighttime scenario. This is like the perfect case study to see how a totally simple, everyday moment can get completely hijacked by worry. So check out this breakdown. The event itself, it's neutral. You're just taking out your hearing aids. The trigger is a physical thing. The tinnitus seems a little louder. But, and this is the really crucial part, it's the thought that follows. I can't get away from it. That one thought, that's what's generating the feelings of frustration and exhaustion. It's not the noise itself. So why? Why does that one thought have so much power? Well, the answer is in this really simple but honestly super powerful model that shows us the hidden engine that's driving our anxiety. This little guy is the Cognitive Behavioural Therapy Triangle, or the CBT Triangle. And what it shows us is that our thoughts, they're not just random things floating around in our heads, they directly create our feelings. And those feelings, well, they drive our behaviors. And then, and here's the kicker, those behaviors reinforce the original thought, locking us into that cycle. And this just illustrates it perfectly. The thought, the noise is preventing sleep, leads to the feeling of frustration. That frustration then leads to the behavior of tossing and turning, checking the clock, which of course makes it even harder to fall asleep. And that just seems to prove that the original thought was right all along. See the cycle? It's a perfect trap.
Okay, so if that automatic thought is the entry point, the front door to the cycle, then that is our big opportunity to step in and do something different. The key isn't to somehow magically stop having thoughts, because that's impossible. It's to challenge them and create a more balanced perspective. Let's see how this builds a totally new path forward.
Just look at the difference here. The anxious thought is absolute, it's catastrophic. This is stopping me. But the balanced thought, it acknowledges reality. Yeah, okay, the tinnitus makes it harder, but then it reclaims control. I can calm my body and drift off. It's not about pretending the problem doesn't exist. It's about changing your relationship with it. And it's the exact same process for our appointment worry. The anxious thought fuses being late with being a personal failure. The balanced thought pulls them apart. You can still think being on time is important, but you unhook it from that feeling of anxious dread. This lets you be a responsible person without being totally consumed by worry. Now, challenging your thoughts is an incredibly powerful mental skill. But let's be real, sometimes that physical feeling of anxiety is just so strong that we need a physical tool to break the cycle. And that's where our breath comes in. This is what we can call the breathing reset. It is so simple, but it is so effective. See, by making your exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale, you're actually flipping a switch on your body's rest and digest system. You're physically telling your body that you're safe, which short-circuits that fight or flight anxiety response and gives your mind the space it needs to use those balanced thoughts we just talked about. So we have a mental tool, challenging our thoughts, and we have a physical one, the breathing reset. But the most important part of all of this is reframing what we're actually doing. This is not about fixing some flaw in you. It's about better managing pressure by using the strengths you already have. In fact, if you think about it, anxiety often latches onto our greatest strengths. I mean, the person who worries about being late is usually incredibly organized and caring. The person who worries about tinnitus is often super resilient and used to coping with challenges. These are your core qualities. We're just trying to take some of the pressure off. So here's what that looks like in the real world. The old habit, the one driven by anxiety, is arriving way, way too early. The new goal is to aim for something more reasonable, like just 5 or 10 minutes early. And you reinforce this new behavior with a little mantra. Being calm is as important as being early. This connects your new action to a new, balanced thought. And that right there, that leads us to maybe the most powerful takeaway of all. This is the core idea to hold on to. You are already organized. You are already caring. You are already responsible. You do not need the feeling of anxiety to power those strengths. They exist all on their own. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Just think about a little loop that sometimes catches you. What is one anxious thought that you could try to rebalance tonight? Just give it a shot. Thanks for tuning in.